Well, I tell you what, my favourite time of the week is the weekend review with this man. He is all over everything. His name is Chris Roots. It's all thanks to Palmerbet and Rooter Fairdick. What a wonderful weekend of racing we've just had, mate. It doesn't get much better, does it? It was absolutely magnificent.
Always one of the great weekends, Turnbull and Epsom weekend. Like we see the best horses in both states, and I think we saw a passing of the baton of the best horse in the country.
And we're speaking of Autumn Glow, 7 from 7. To do what she did yesterday in the Epsom was quite special. She is something out of this world, Chris, isn't she?
Yeah, and let's just put it into perspective. She's the first Epsom winner to go out of the Epsom unbeaten. She's the second fastest Epsom winner ever behind
Wow.
Hartnell. So only a couple of lengths off Hartnell's time. And she did it from barrier 14 with more weight, effectively more weight than Winks had when she won the race. It sort of adds up
That,
to saying she might be pretty good.
that is unbelievable, isn't it? And you touched on the fact last week that at the same age, same time, she's rating higher than Winks. And I tell you what, honestly, I think you're absolutely spot on. I think we have a new darling of the racing right now, and we need to embrace it. And where does she go to? What's she do? What are they going to map out? You're close to the stable here. What's the plan? Do you think, Ruda?
Well, she's going to be very short now in a Golden Eagle, like an even money favourite, 1,500. Kieran McAvoy spoke to him after the races yesterday, and he said, look, I don't know whether she's just a sprinter miler and that 1,500 might be absolutely perfect for her. And when we talk of she's rating better than Winks, she's rating better than Winks at the ratings that really matter, which are the handicapping ratings. So the handicappers had her at 111 to Winks' 110 going into that race, and she'll probably be higher than her again. Coming out of that race, it would be interesting to see how many points they get her now that she's a Group One winner. She wasn't even a Group One winner before yesterday, so it's either the Golden Eagle or come to Melbourne for the Empire Rose. Now, if you're playing futures with the Empire Rose, there hasn't been a set of noms yet, so you can back her in the Empire Rose and hope she doesn't. Hopes John Massara and Chris Waller go, we'd like to come down and win on Derby Day. And she'd be quite a reasonable price there in those sort of races. Like when you look at her in a Golden Eagle, she's around the even money quote now. And just get up the Palmerbet markets here and have a quick peruse because I haven't really looked at this yet, but they've got her in a Golden Eagle, which is before not she's now an even money favourite in the Golden Eagle, and in the Empire Rose, well, if you're quick, there's a bit of $6 around. So if you want to take the risk and think, geez, John Massara might decide he wants to win on Derby Day, or Chris Waller might decide that $6 is probably not going to be there if she shows up, and I don't think they'll nominate if they're not going.
Unbelievable. $6. And I reckon even money heading to a Golden Eagle is a luxury, to be honest, off the back of what we said. You just said too, off air, threw a shoe, become unbalanced on the turn. Just the way she won. She's just a fighter, and she's got that will to win, which all the good ones have got, haven't they?
I had someone sort of compare it to say, do we compare it to Winks to me today? I go, well, Winks was a different sort of animal. She'd get back and charge home. This girl does it in so many different ways. Like yesterday, she had barrier 14, the outside barrier. They gunned her out of the barrier. Kieran said she didn't quite come back. It took him a furlong or so to get her back on the bridle. They had an easy furlong from about the six to the 6 to 4 or 8 to the 6, just along in that section there. They just come back a little bit. Then they went again. And if you notice, she come off the bridle early on the turn. You thought, oh, she's in a bit of trouble here. That might have been where she threw a shoe or what happened. But what she got down to her work, they're running the second fastest Epsom of all time, and she's running away from them. Like she seems like she's got bottomless gears. I don't know if we've seen her at top speed yet.
Nah, it's quite phenomenal. It was a great victory, that is for sure. Hey, listen, let's go to the Turnbull. I'm keen to get your thoughts. Sedelius, absolutely super impressive. When you talk about horse that I reckon we're running away, what do we make of V. Sistina, Aliana, Antino, half yours? What was your thoughts on the Turnbull, mate? And I reckon Sedelius deserves now to be favourite for Cox Plate. Obviously, it deserves favouritism for the Melbourne Cup as well.
if we're saying Autumn Glow's the best horse in the country, Sir Delius says hello. He was outstanding on the weekend. He he took on the best horses at 2,000 metres in the country and beat them pointlessly. Really, I think this is a very interesting part of this race. If you go back and watch it, so Gillies is trapped three wide. Damian Lane is on the inside of an OTI horse, right on its wither, and as Craig tries to shift them in, Damian Lane just comes back and lets the OTI horse get in front of him and lets Sir Delius in. I reckon if he had his time again, Damien would have just given a little nudge and kept Sir Delius three wide, and might have been a different result, because
Yeah.
that would have had Vera Sestina a pair closer. Vera Sestina isn't a horse that's got a really sharp sprint, but she just keeps building, much like Autumn Glow. They just keep finding another gear, another gear, another gear. It's not like that sharp sprint that Australian horses have generally. So I thought she was pretty good late, but I think James just was just a victim of circumstances, being probably a bit further back than he wanted from Sedelius. He was 2 lengths off him, never got closer to him as he sprinted away. Obviously now we haven't got a one horse Cox Plate, we've got a two horse. So if you're a Vera Sestina fan and you want to stick with her, you're going to get a price.
Geez, I reckon there's another one
Go,
you're forgetting. I reckon Treasure of the Moment's the forgotten one too. Don't worry about that. I just reckon. I reckon she's
I
going to
think I've
take
been
some
pretty
trouble.
clear on what I think about with horses that have had
Yes.
setbacks, and I think she did get beaten by Jenny at her next start, and she goes up against Buckaroo on the weekend, and that's going to be a two-horse race. There's only going to be about five in it. I just think I'd prefer to take these proven older horses. I think the Turnbull's always a better guide to a Cox Plate than a Might and Power. So you look
Yep.
at that. I thought Antino was pretty good, but you couldn't possibly see him beating Sir Delius home in a Cox Plate. I thought Antino was fantastic through the. Sorry, Ariana was fantastic
Eliana.
through the
Yep.
line. She was really good late. Now that makes an interesting decision for Chris Waller. Does he take her and say, right, we'll go to a Caulfield Cup, because I think she's looking for ground rather than
Yep.
the 2000. But then he's got to look on his outside. There's Half Yours flying home, which is now 325 for a Cox Plate. So for a Caulfield Cup, sorry. So a lot of things to analyse out of the race. I think the thing you take, I'm still in the Vera Sestina camp for the Cox Plate. Definitely in the Sir Delius Melbourne Cup camp now, and I think Half Yours, it's short enough in the Caulfield Cup, but I think Aliana would really give it a race if it was there.
Yeah, I reckon Eliana will head Caulfield Cup with Half Yours, obviously. My big question with Sir Delius is the Moonee Valley track. Do you think, is there any question mark there? Big horse, strong horse, getting around that tight Moonee Valley course?
They tend to get around Vimy Valley. Every horse
Mm,
seems to get around it. It's more Caulfield that causes trouble. So
yeah,
I'd be quite relaxed with him around there. I know he hasn't been there. He'll go there in the next couple of weeks, a couple of times, have a look at the track. What we got to remember is the Cox Plate has become the best Melbourne Cup leader,
it
because
has.
we have our best horses, and he's going to get into the Melbourne Cup. He's not going to give the handicapper another chance to get at him. He's only got 55.5 in the Melbourne Cup off the top of my head. Like, that's the
Yeah.
luxury rate. He's going to be he's going to come back. If he runs the 2 miles, he's going to be very hard to beat.
Hey, just while we stick on that race, so I just want to talk a little bit about Melbourne Cup and future betting. More Felons, which myself and Adam McGrath were all over as a best value and best each way, and runs fourth, would you believe? All we wanted was a slot, Chris. Would have been fantastic. Vauban, Valiant King, Gilded Water, Middle Earth, Fineo, Bird Dubai. There was some nice little runs, I reckon. If you're looking at some future markets and you can find a little bit of value on that Palmerbet app, can't you, for a few of these horses at a big price that will be plotting towards a Melbourne Cup?
Yeah, it's an interesting study, the Melbourne Cup, because you're sort of looking at you've got the real classy animal in Sir Delius, and then you've got these other horses. Valiant King was 60-1 yesterday. I thought it was a good price if you were having a bet, and I actually talked myself out of backing it. I'm still a little bit sick over it.
Mm,
Um, uh, then you had Gilded Water going out and not settling, and Valiant King just coming over the top of it. It was really good. I don't think anything that finished behind it could beat it in a Melbourne Cup. I don't. I'm pretty sure it's open to a penalty now, but I think we've seen it there before. I thought Felons was good in Sydney. There was a bit of a bunch finish, so hard to know. That looked like the Newcastle in the Metropolitan, the Newcastle Cup form stood up with Royal
Yep.
Supremacy beating the favourite Sol of Spain. So hard to take anything out of that race that would have me very excited about a Melbourne Cup. And like, yes, go through them and you go, well, a lot of horses tick boxes, and it's very hard. They've just got to be. They're all being basically aimed at one day, and that's the first Tuesday in November. So, um, if these stars continue to build, that'll be the interesting thing. And we've got Geelong Cups, we've got the Moonee Valley Cup, and we've got Bendigo Cup to come up. We've cut our cup fancy, so we'll be watching those with a lot of interest. But it's very hard to go past Sedilius, even though he hasn't ticked that 2 mile box.
And it'll be interesting to see what they do with Gilda Water too. Do they go to a Geelong Cup now to try and plot a path that way? So watch this space with a few of those horses. What about the Everest talk, mate? We're only 2 weeks away now. This is exciting. We had some runners yesterday, Briasa, Jimmy Starr, obviously Jetta Beale in the mix. What's the word? What are you thinking? And Private Harry discussion as well.
Yeah, well, yesterday we got Magic Time put in uh, by Inglis, and Jettabill's gone into the Mulberry Racing, who own Jettabill. They've put in their own horse after his performance yesterday. He was really good. Like, he got back and got home. If you own your slot, you'd prefer to see your own colours go around. I know they tried to do deals with Charmstone and Barrackhill and horses like that, but in the end, if you've got a horse that can probably run, I'm not saying it can win the Everest, but I think it could run first 5 or 6. That's a good result for you with your slot. So we'll just keep an eye on it. It'll be the outsider of the field, but it'll have supporters. And then you've got Magic Time, which has been to Randwick before and loves Randwick. So Graham Begg a runner. And going back to the Premier, well, I think it was very much as expected. I didn't expect anything else from Private Harry. I think he's just a run below. I think he's in that set of sprinters that are about 2 or 3 lengths behind the real good ones. And now that he's been put under the pressure of the races at this level, he's going to have to work through another year of that to see whether he can come up and handle that pressure. And he's a Galaxy winner. He has been sold for big money to Yulong, but I just think he's the horse that if Yulong wanted to change, you wouldn't be surprised. But what do they pick? They've already got 2 horses in the race with Magic Time and Angel Capital. So do they have another sprinter there they could throw in? I don't think so. I thought Briasa was always going to have the advantage of being in front of Jimmy Starr. Jimmy Starr worked to the line really well. I don't think Jimmy Starr ever finishes in front of Briasa in an Everest. And as we know, if you line up Briasa against Jolly Star, well, it was a length and a half behind it. So I think the market's sort of pretty well found now. The one I could back is Lady Shenandoah. I think there's big improvement there, and I think you'll find War Machine could be in the mix after its Gilgai win.
Gee, I reckon. I think they're offering 350 or something. Angel Capital to run a drum in an Everest. I reckon that's not a bad play either. If you're sitting back looking, Chris, like
I don't, I
it's
don't, I don't think there's going to be as much traffic there for it to avoid as it was in the Ripper Clark.
yeah,
For one, the
yeah.
Ripper Clark, it'll be definitely second favourite at $8. Like, I just think it's the sort of horse with a bit of X factor. I think out of the ones that we're not talking about a lot, and it's 15 to 1 still. Like, it's not it's one of those races where you look at it and you go, well, is that are we looking for second and third because the Hong Kong horse is so good? We get to see it on Tuesday morning, so that'll be another layer to where we're at with the Everest. But I think the market's pretty well found now. You're not going to get you're sort of looking at about what you take on the day, give or take barriers. So there's not really anything out wide there that could consider value.
Hey, Corfu Guineas this weekend, mate. That is a feature race. Wodenton's the favourite. Autumn Boy, Vinrock, BWOC, they're all in the market. Are you sticking with the top two? I know you're a bit of an Autumn Boy fan and also Wodenton. Is that the way you're thinking early in the week?
Yeah, I think you'll find that the market will flip once James McDonald's announced on Autumn Boy. Um, there's no jockey when we're doing this podcast, but I think by the time this comes out, it'll be pretty clear who's riding it. Um, Nepotism comes down from Sydney. Vinrock. I'm not a fan of the Melbourne 3-year-old form. I don't think they're as good as the Sydney ones. BWOC won't be there. It'll go to a Coolmore. Um, so you're looking at Wotan, which was second in a golden race, second in a golden slipper. Geez, it's only a touch off being like already done as a stallion. If it could win this, that'd that'd tick the box. I think of all the horses there, it's the horse that's going to stretch over a little bit further. The Wooden Basset really coming out in it. So, um, but I just can't go past Autumn Boy. I thought his wins in Brisbane were outstanding. He got beaten first up and just had in the Ming Dynasty and just had absolutely no luck in the Golden Rose. Somehow he found himself four wide, and when they ran along, like in the races, they're running a lot where they run along. It's very hard to get back and wide and make any ground at all.
Mate, it is going to be huge. The next couple of weeks, I know I keep banging on about it, but I'm excited. I'm heading to the Guineas this weekend too. It's going to be a fantastic day at Caulfield, and then we're only 2 weeks away from that Everest, which I think will be a huge, huge day. And there's going to be so much interest with the Hong Kong Raider taking on the Aussies. It is going to be magnificent to watch. Hey, listen, mate, you have a wonderful week. We'll catch up midweek for Bolton in, of course, with Laura Lafferty and Adam McGrath, and I look forward to that. And I look forward to catching up as the week progresses, buddy.
More importantly, are we back at Belmont this week? Like this Kalgoorlie meeting's thrown our days out.
Mate, but fair dinkum, what was he on? He couldn't even pluck one from around the country. I was
Yes.
shattered on the weekend. The Belmont Basher went missing, but he'll be back next week, that is for sure. Hey, download the Palmer Bet app. Get your Punters Club happening with your friends. It's a really simple app. They've got the Bookies Bag 2.0. There's always some great treats in there, which are absolutely magnificent at this time of the year. But as we always say, think, is that the bet you really want to have? Chris Roots, look forward to catching up next week, buddy. Well done, and have a great weekend.
See you, mate.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.